Yo, what's going on, guys? Ron here, aka Neos, and today, guys, we are going to be covering the ban list that Konami dropped not too long ago, just today. So, before we get into it, you already know, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell down below. That way, you know when I post more content. And let's go ahead and get right into it, right? So, starting off the ban list, right, as you can see right here, Naturia Rosewhip, K9 Aurora, and CXYZ Gimmick Puppet. Fantastics Machinix. All of these are forbidden. Rosewhip makes a lot of sense. The main reason this card got banned is so Cool Toon doesn't completely shove Doomsy out of the format. Outside of that, this doesn't really matter. The Naturia is it's annoying, but it wasn't the main thing that Cool Toon was doing, right? Cool Toon was doing it usually they were siding it for specific matchups like Doom Z or Sky Striker or whatever the case might be, and that means they could just put this card on the field and then just kind of lock their opponent out of the game, or at least try to. So yeah, really annoying. But yeah, good to see it banned. It should be banned. It should never come back. It's just a floodgate. So yeah, K9 Aurora, we'll talk about last. The Gimmick Puppet, they just banned this card because it's a FTK card, right? And we don't need FTK decks really anymore in Yu-Gi-Oh! Especially with the amount of, silliness that Gimmick Puppet has, preventing you from interacting with it, and then all they do is burn you to death, which is really uninteractive and not good for the game. So, I'm glad to see this card go. I'd been burned to death 2 or 3 times over the time that this deck has been, was actually playable, but, whatever. And then Noroi. This should have been Ripper, in my opinion. We should have just banned Ripper, and we could have left Noroi. But I understand why they banned this card, because they couldn't semi it or limit it, because in the main deck that it's played in VSK9, you played at 1. Right, so it didn't really matter. So you're better off just, banning this card, because it does facilitate, the Skull Dread line, right? You could just do the K9 stuff, makes Saruja draw 4, put 3 back, and then special summon either saw Mad Love, or you saw Rosin, right? Because there was 6 cards, or you saw Stake Your Soul, right? So there was 3, 6, there was 9 cards that you should have seen, right? At least one of them, and then you just put a bunch of stuff back, and and then it special summons from hand, and then you're just cooked, right? So it makes sense that this card was banned. I don't like that it was banned, but Konami, right? They want to push the new stuff. You can still for 100% play VSK9. It's just the ceiling is a little worse. So yeah, and then also it does look at your hand, which I guess ignore Rotary existing, because that card's just actually 10 times better than Aurora ever was. But yeah, on to the next piece here. We have a lot of limits, right? So we have Cupsy Yummy, Fairy Tale Snow, Malice P White Rabbit, Cupsy Yummy Way, Branded Fusion, Metamorphosis, Premature Burial, Radiant Typhoon Chant, Rahu Draco Tail, Synchro Overtake. The biggest one here, and the one that actually matters, there's actually 2. There's 2 on here that actually really matter, and one of them is Branded Fusion, and the other one is Synchro Overtake. This card should have been banned, right? This card is way too good. There's with the Cool Toon deck having so many ways to normal summon, right? This just counts as another one of those normal summons, right? They can just, they also can dodge Fool with this. They can just choose to add instead. This card is absolutely broken, specifically in the Cool Toon, right? And it's more broken than the Beast one was for the Yummy deck, right? So that one obviously summoned 3 from the deck, but you were locked into Beasts. But that didn't really matter, because, at that point you just had way too much advantage. And then, but this one, you get to choose to search your special, and you have 2 different targets, right? And also, this has the effect to get it not only from the deck, but also the grave. And in addition to that, if you belled it, they could, if they had another one, or they could get to another one with the Genesis card, they just activated it again, which is super broken. I don't understand why you have something that can summon from grave or add from grave that can only be activated. It should have been used, but it's an old Yu-Gi-Oh card. So, Cupsy Yummy, the Yummy deck was already dead. They just wanted to make sure it was dead. That's the same reason with Cupsy Yummy Way. This limit makes the only reason we limited Cupsy Yummy Way is that for the people that were desperate to try to play Yummy, now like you cannot because of Crackle, right? They're just gonna Crackle, rip Cupsy Yummy Way. This is for specifically for the slop decks, right? The Striker Mitsu Yummy deck, right? Now instead of like you being able to play like 2 Cupsy Yummy Way to play like around Crackle, you can't do that anymore. They just they can rip the Snatchy first, and then they just rip your 1 Cupsy Yummy Way, and it's over, right? And then obviously the 1 Cupsy Yummy is just consistency hit is the best normal summon for the deck. So, and then Fairy Tale Snow, they unlimited this specifically for the Spellcaster deck, which obviously makes sense because otherwise the Spellcaster deck really doesn't do anything. So this increases the ceiling a lot and gives it a little bit more power. Branded Fusion, this card should have always been left at 1. They put it to 1. They brought it back to 2 because of the support, and then they put it back to 1. This is also in line with the Rahu Draco Tail limit because they just want to kill the branded Draco Tail deck, which they successfully did because Ketsu's at 1, Rahu's at 1, Branded Fusion's at 1, Malulu's at 1, and then, you know, as we move down the list, you're going to see some other stuff as well. So, Metamorphosis really does not matter. That card is bad. Maybe you play it in, like, Predaplant, but it's really not that great. And then we have Premature Burial. This card actually could see some play because of Doom Z. However, I don't know if we're really going to see it. Specifically, it could be good because of Doom Z, right? Being able to pay 800 life points for cost and targeting a monster of your graveyard, special summon an attack position, and equip this with this card. You know, just being able to summon stuff, right? And it's an equip spell that you can get access to is not bad. So yeah. We have Radiant Typhoon Chant. This is just a hit to mainly the Radiant slop decks, like being able to just access Radiant monsters, which is fine. You have plenty of ways to get to it if you're playing the Radiant deck, but to be honest, I don't really see Radiant Typhoon being played a whole lot because of Cool Tune being so dominant. Like if it was a format dominated specifically by Doom Z, I would. But it's not, so. And then obviously we have Rahu, right? This is just a hit to Draco Tail. They're trying to move it out of the format, which, thank God, I want that deck to be dead. I'm so sick and tired of, like, my opponent vomiting Rahu, Phimena, Normal Summon Lucius, and Branded Fusion at me. And I'm just like, because you just have to stop all of them. It's so annoying. So thank God that's all dead. And then, you know, last one is Overtake, which should have just been banned. I don't know why, but Konami and their, you know, one-ofs. And then for the last thing, we actually don't have any unlimits. We only have semi-limit of Lucius and Arthalion. So, again, consistency hits. This should have been Phimena, I think. Or, to be honest, if it would have been Phimena, it should have been Phimena to 1. Leave Lucius at 3. And then most decks were playing 2 Arthalion anyways. Some people were playing 3. Like, it was a fight. People were fighting like, oh, you should play 2. Oh, you should play 3. You should... Most of the, like, the good, really, really good players were like, just play 2 because, like, the first trap you resolve, you just put it back. Right? Because you needed access to it. Right? Because you made the first one on your turn. You made the second one on your opponent's turn. You activate the trap. You put the other one back. Right? That was the plan. And then you just... Literally, every turn, you just cycle... Like you just keep cycling the Arthalions, right? Because you have the one that's in rotation. It hits grave for whatever reason, and then you go, put it, summon the other one, use its effect, put the other one back with a trap, right? Loop, 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 loop. So you can still loop it, but it's definitely worse now, right? Like you can't play 3 to like try to like keep yourself safe, I guess. So, but yeah, that's really it for the list, guys. That's everything I wanted to talk about. I think that overall, like, this list is pretty mid. This is, unfortunately, this right here, the Naturia, and then, like, the Overtake are, like, the best hits on the list, I think. Because they're Cool Tune hits, right? And we need to bring the power of Cool Tune down because that deck is way too strong for no reason. And yeah, it's insane. Also, I think that the Malice White Rabbit should have been a ban. I was talking about this with a lot of people beforehand that I'm tired of seeing Malice. Malice should not be being able to be played like 3 formats after its time, and people just keep playing it. I'm so sick and tired of it because it's so hard to interact with, and like they either draw like 4 hand traps and like dormouse, or they draw like 2 hand traps and then like a name plus like March Hare plus like a hard drawn trap, which is usually like MTP07 to play around your stuff, which is so annoying. Or they draw like Chessy Cat plus like a name, right? So they can go like normal summon, draw 2, you stop it, and then they just link, and then or they just draw backup. That's another thing too. They just draw backup. So like they could go like normal summon a name effect, you stop it. They just link off, make backup effect. You stop that, and then they just activate the Bestial in hand, and you're just like. And another reason is like Nib is good against this deck, but Nib is bad now because of Cool Tune. So. But yeah, anyways, that's going to be it talking about the list, guys. I really do hope that y'all enjoyed. And yeah, tell me what y'all think, right? Do you think the list was good? Do you think the list was bad? What's your favorite hit, right? And what's a card that maybe you would have liked to see on the list for either being like forbidden, limited, unlimited, like brought off the ban list? Because I know for me, I was expecting Electromite because of the Power Patron stuff, but here we are. So anyways, guys, like I said, that's going to be it. I hope y'all enjoyed. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell down below. That way you know when I post more content. And I'll catch y'all in the next one, guys. Peace.